Do. So the first couple of minutes or so, I just wait to see if anybody will join. So just hang out. What's the weather like down there? Have you looked outside?
I'm staring outside right now. It's got some overcast and a little bit of a breeze, but it was pretty clear this morning. So I don't know how it's going to turn out, to be honest.
Oh, there is a.
Feedback loop.
You can hear it? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Oh, sorry.
You can hear it? Oh, it's on your end. It's all good. Perfect. See? Those are the things we want to work out. Boom. Hello, Aaron Stark. What's up? Aaron Stark is one of our new moderators. So welcome to the stream. Aaron is coming in from the Canary Islands off of Spain.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah, and he's also a YouTuber. So
Check them out.
I should post his link in the chat. He actually can post his link in the chat. Aaron, you're now capable of doing that. So I would love if you posted your YouTube link. We've got 9 people. Yeah, thank you so much. Hi, Niall. Hi, Sali. And Sali, is that how it's pronounced? Kira Bulud. Hi, friend. Hi, Nicotine Jenkins. Welcome. Hi, Brian Haddad. Strong echo on my audio, Jessica. Thank you so much for letting me know. Okay, let me adjust it. Do you hear an echo or no?
Not really, but I'm
Yes.
terrible at sensing this stuff.
Oh, you are? Okay. Thank you so much for letting me know about the echoes. Okay, just 1 second. Strong echo. Okay, so that means... can you guys all... Thank you! Can you guys all hear Philip when he speaks?
Yeah, let me know if it sounds okay on my side. And it'll be pretty deep sounding voice, but that's about normal.
Okay, John says, yep, echo here too. They can hear you, yay. Philip is coming through just fine. Okay, stand by. I'll get this fixed, thank you. Yay, you guys are so helpful with your feedback. On my feedback. Audio feedback, get it? Okay, sound. Input will be, let's try this. I'm gonna change it to testing. Still echoey? Echoey, still an echoey. Yes or no, is there an echo? I still hear an echo. Thank you, Brian. Do you still hear an echo? Am I echoing? I think it still sounds like there's an echo. Still a little echoey. Okay, so we're getting closer. Is it less echoey? Okay, let's try this. How's that? Echoey, echoey. Feedback on feedback, always original JK. Am I an echo? Hello, my name is Jessica. I am singing a song. Trying to figure out if it does.
It sounds clear here. I mean,
I hear a small echo on my end, and it's driving me nuts. I think it's probably what they're hearing. Let's see. Hi, everybody. A little, but sounds good. Okay, that little bit is... But it's a good echo. No, you guys are awesome. I love you all so much. You know what? I love hearing you twice anyhow. Okay, I'm so close to having it worked out. I'm so glad that Philip is coming through okay, though. Whew. He just spent, like, when did we start? We started at 11. It's been 4 hours?
yeah.
You spent 4 hours with me while I worked through it. Wow.
Or kind of storytelling and
Yeah. How's that? Echo? Less? More? Same? I still hear it. I totally still hear it. Echoey. Same. Maybe you can change your background to something. Okay, can you see chat on your end? Yes.
oh yeah, I could see it. Yeah.
Okay, so let
Oh,
me
it
try
looks like
this.
I'm gonna.
Ah! Sorry, everybody. See? Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard that. I don't know what that was, but
It always does that. Okay, so I'd rather have that small echo, this annoying echo, than that. Okay, so let's get started.
yeah.
Okay, whoo. This audio thing is frustrating. All right, everybody, welcome back. Today, I am here with my friend who is now, this is his second time appearing on my channel. This is Philip Emanuele. Wow!
Yeah, thanks for having me back, to be honest.
Yeah,
It was fun the first time, and I hope we can continue kind of where we left off last time.
Yeah.
And some related stuff. So, Bitcoin's been a hot topic, especially, a lot of new people interested in it, lots of new projects taking off, lots of cool stuff to talk about. So,
Yeah. So
yeah,
I brought Philip back on so we can discuss Bitclout.
right.
So Bitclout is, I would like to know in the chat, are you familiar with Bitclout? And if so, just say, I'd like some yeses or some nos or a raise the roof emoji or, oh, yay, SpaceX stuff. Woo woo. Hello from Europe. Hello, SJ Falcon. Let's see. Do, 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 do. Boop, burp, burp. Has anybody heard of Bitclout? Oh, here we go. David Miller says nope. ... Okay, thank you, David. Hi, David Miller. Heard of it, but don't know what it is, says Brian Haddad. Okay, cool. Anybody else? Anybody else heard of it, not know what it is? And it's okay if you don't know what it is,
Yeah.
because I didn't know what it was until a week ago. SpaceX Xbox stuff. Let's see, who said they've never, Niles never heard of it. Okay, cool. So that's two people have never, somebody's heard of it. Hector said, hey, Jessica and Philip, I've heard of Bitclout and heard it's a spam. Oh, perfect. Okay, so Hector, hi, Hector. Thank you for joining. SJ doesn't know what it is. Hector says scam. Okay, yes. Cool.
Well, I think that means we're
On the
doing a
right.
good job of getting in front of people before they experience it out in the wild. So,
Yeah.
Jess, actually, you want to talk about your first experience signing up for it or anything like that, or do you want me to take it?
How about Toyota says no? Okay, thank you all. You guys are awesome. Okay, so we are going to touch on, it's not showing that it's live over here. Okay. Yeah, so I don't know exactly what it is. Philip actually came to me with his concern because he knew that I had signed up for it, and I signed up for it because I was in a Clubhouse room where they were talking about it, and they said, go sign up, and blah, 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 blah. So I did. And right now, and I can show you guys, this is currently Bitclout. Okay. This is my bitclout.com/u/Jessica Kirsh. So this is my Bitclout profile. Philip, you can see that on your end, right? No, yes. I sent you a screenshot. Okay, cool.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Okay, cool. So right now, this is what it says. As you can see, I've got 22 followers, $26.29 coin price. I don't know what that means. It says I have 7.4236 coins in circulation. Total US dollars locked, $65.05. US dollar market cap is $195.15. Okay, so I have put zero money into this Bitclout because I knew in my head there's no way that I could make money off of it. Doesn't seem legit. Like I don't trust it. But something felt off. Thank you. But people on Clubhouse continue to talk about it and say that they'll follow each other, and then people started sending me Bitclout coins and buying my coins or whatever. So that's what I know. So now I'm going to hand it off to Philip, who's going to talk about.
Cool.
Okay, go ahead.
Cool, thanks. So to give anybody background that didn't hear me speak on the last live stream, I've worked in the crypto and Bitcoin space for about 9 years now. I have a background in tech and a personal interest in finance. And I do follow these projects closely. So I've seen over the past year projects come and go, a lot of different types of scams come and go. And I always go into everything with an open mind because you never know what the next innovation is going to be. But there are some indicators that help me determine whether or not something is of high risk of becoming a scam when it looks legitimate to the first experience. So with Bitclout, I was first introduced to it, just like Jessica was, on the Clubhouse platform. Went into a room that was filled with people shouting the praises of Bitclout. So I said, okay, well, it's time for me to do due diligence and check this thing out from an outside perspective and see what information I can obtain and process and understand what this system is. So Bitclout claims to be a decentralized social platform. If you were to go to bitclout.com, there is a link for their one-page explanation of what Bitclout is. Under that, that's actually where I kind of got the first red flags. So with the crypto space, the Bitcoin space, one of the big things we talk about is transparency. A lot of people like Bitcoin, they like Dogecoin, all those fun things because they're transparent. And that means when you buy into them, you are provided with all the information to do in-depth analysis and due diligence to decide what its value is from your own personal decision. And with Bitclout, we have a different situation here. So on their one-page little spread of what they are and what they do, we find some lies. And that's the best way I can put it, because we have them claiming that their system is open source. It's, for the creators, blah, 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 but there is no source code that we can see or read. And we're finding that they are misrepresenting, I would say misrepresenting or representing without permission, creators. So in the Bitclout space, we have them talking about Elon Musk, that you can invest in Elon Musk coin and,
All right, can I pause you there and show how much his coin is worth right now?
Yeah.
He's at the top. $62,965.26. You can see he's not, it says this profile is reserved. Click here to claim it. He has not logged in. He has not claimed anything. He has not become a member of the platform. And he has this much value. So people are putting their money into his coin, but it doesn't exist.
Not only that it doesn't exist, maybe the best thing to point out is that they are making that price of value out of nowhere. They're just saying, oh yeah, it's worth that. So they're in the Bitclout marketplace, there is no open market. It sets the price on its own. Whereas if you were to buy from the Bitcoin market or a Dogecoin market, you are buying from an open exchange. So there's the natural force of the market, which is people will determine price on the sell side and on the buy side. And if you have lots of people selling and not a lot of people buying, price will go down because they need to meet each other. And if there's a lot of people buying, but not a lot of people selling, price will go up because in order to help balance the market and encourage people to sell, value goes up. With the Bitclout market, it is not that. Bitclout tells you what things are worth or not worth. So in a sense, if everybody here in the chat was to say, I was to say to you guys, hey, You know, I made 20 billion unicorn coins, and I would like to sell them to each of
Unicorn.
you for $1,000 each.
Wait, are the unicorn coins colorful? Digitally colorful?
Yeah, yeah, digitally
Do they
colorful.
prance around
Yeah, they
like a
prance
pony?
around. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. Oh,
sorry.
yeah.
Continue on.
But the one thing that I'll tell you, even if you buy it from me, I won't ever give it to you. You pay me $1,000 for a unicorn coin, and I'll hold on to it. So I promise to hold on to it. And not even that, I don't promise to hold on to it, but I'll hold on to it either way. So with the Bitclout system, you can't take, it's called custody. You can't take custody of the thing that you purchased. So if you imagine going down to a car dealership and buying a car, and then the car dealer goes, cool, thanks for signing and paying for the car. We'll keep it here at the dealership. And yeah, and you go about your day, have a nice day. So there's a lot of elements with Bitclout that you know are very concerning, and that's why you see a lot of people calling it a scam, and I think it's got a lot of elements to that. Now, with that said, there is a secondary game. You would think that immediately everybody would say, okay, it's a scam, let's get out of it, let's get out of here and move on. But there's a secondary game being played, much like a multi-level marketing business, where if you were to manipulate the system, you would try to get people to pump up the value of certain coins and dump them.
Pump up the value, pump up the value,
Yeah.
pump up the value, dance,
And then-
dance.
And essentially steal money from incoming people. I see it as stealing, because it's preying on their you know,
They're putting their own money in it, right?
yeah. So there's certain people that are taking the value and they're trying to exchange it externally. There's a lot of things that I disagree with. And there's an incentive for experienced people to take care or take advantage of the inexperienced. So it's a very predatory space. And at the same time, they promote it as a creator space, you know, as a quote unquote decentralized, you know, creator platform. But really, I see most of the action being in the predatory side of trying to take advantage of new people. You just got to keep new people coming in. As long as you keep new people coming in, you know, the rides don't stop, the party doesn't stop. But as soon as they stop having new people come in and everybody starts fleeing the ship, like, you know, rats from a sinking ship. I don't know if you guys have heard that saying before, but I believe Bitclout would go that path, because there's no more incentive because you can't extract value from the newcomers. So, you know, I really just wanted to get that out there and make sure that we're informing people before they experience these things, because they look very attractive from the outside.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
When you got people excited, super excited, you know, it's a new platform, you know, blah, blah, blah. But that's not what they're excited about. They're excited about you potentially putting your Bitcoin into their system, which then creates a profitable opportunity for them to extract value out of that system. So
That's dirty. Like, that's dirty, dirty.
It's the predatory, you know, piece that is giving them all this, you know, this energy to go, you know, it's like somebody working for an MLM and having that energy where they're trying to go out and get new people to sign up for the MLM. It's not because they believe in the business that the MLM is selling, you know, like health drinks or whatever. No, they're excited to get people below them, sending them money to them. That's the part they're really excited about. So I think we've just witnessed the first, you know, maybe one of the first digital MLMs in this space, using really no product at all because you're not receiving anything. You're just participating in something that will potentially take away your wealth, your stored wealth.
Okay, so on that note, on Twitter, there is a person, his name is Barnacles Nerdgasm. Can't make that up. And I clicked on his profile, it says he's a YouTube producer, Twitch streamer, and property of Mrs. Barnacle. Okay. He has 119,000 followers on Twitter. So he's a he's a big deal. And he's followed by the guy that actually introduced me to Bitclout. That's Jerry. Okay. Jerry who? Okay, so he commented on the posts of us going live and said, I've dedicated so much of my time trying to save people from this platform. It's one of the most dangerous scams I've seen in a very long time, and it's implemented in such a way that the most deceptive and criminal element bubbled to the top while everyone else is silenced.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right there.
Absolutely.
You can't see it because it's,
Yeah.
It's on my Twitter right now. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, he's here. Hello.
Excellent.
Wow. Thank you so much. You're a big deal.
Yeah, that's
Thank you.
I couldn't have said it better. That is the perfect way to say it, that it encourages predatory behavior, and rewards it. And it was telling us before that I have essentially a source. I'm not going to divulge who it is, but they sent me messages talking about how they are preying on new people using this platform, and that they don't care, that it's not their responsibility to take care of their fellow brothers and sisters on this planet that we live on together. And I find that morally disgusting. I think it's important, anybody to care for others that you may not know, and to, not to intentionally harm somebody, just because you think, one way or another that about that. So I think it's important to, protect each other, and to not let others, fall to harm when you can step up and do something about it. I think that's this platform is, from the outside, when you first come up to it, it could be attractive, but being in this space for 9 years gave me enough of a sensor to see the red flags, of the claiming it's open source, but it's not open source. There's also lawsuits that have been filed against the person that developed this platform. And then also that second tier of predatory people that are using this to try to extract other people's wealth. So it's just too many things have aligned to say that this is something that I recommend everybody stays away from.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. There's also a great video by CoffeeZilla. There, the person in the chat too. Hopefully they do a video on this, and I hope we get enough people speaking about it that we warn others, because maybe there is a day where we can create a decentralized platform with a positive reward system for building content, but I don't think Bitclout is it. And I think it's incredibly dangerous. I think it'll be a great example of what not to do, and it'll set again a new standard for a new type of scam to look out for in the space.
Okay, so Barnacles has offered to come on as audio.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
So
that'd be great.
I'm going to go ahead and bring him on. Let's see if I can send him a Twitter DM. And what's the best place to contact you? Let me get the Zoom link. Would love that. I'm so glad that other people I'm so glad that you said something to me, because it
Yeah.
seemed not right.
Yeah.
And having gone through all of the student loan scam and predatory lending that I told you about earlier,
Yep.
that I'm eventually going to film a video on sometime, but I first need to calm down,
Yeah.
It just...
And I even tried to speak about it when I was starting to first see the red flags. I went into the multitude of Clubhouse rooms that were, related to Bitclout, and of course now I know it's filled with people participating on the side of trying to, gain from this, this system that I think is deplorable. And I now notice that it's all just to try to legitimize it, and to try to get as much influence as possible before I think it blows up and leave everybody, the new people, as the bag holders. So,
So I have claimed my account there. I'm not verified like on Twitter or anything like that, but I have opened the account. How would I even go about closing it and making sure that nobody else opens it in my name? Okay, that's problematic.
I think you have to send a cease and desist letter or something. But then again, you might have already agreed to some kind of terms by signing up. That's a side I haven't looked into
It's
of how to get
terrifying.
out of there and not let them. Because if Jessica, if you think about it, if you have future new fans show up and they go to Bitclout and they go, oh, let me support Jessica. So they, let's say they put
No.
$1,000 of Bitcoin.
No, no. Oh no,
So
don't. Oh
and then the
no.
value can't come back out. It's stuck in there, which is another terrible thing too, because there have been YouTubers who said that their identities have been turned into profiles there, and inflows of wealth without their permission is going to their profile, and they're never going to see that money. Like, the YouTuber needs to eat and have a house and, like, to have shelter, and they're not going to be able to see that wealth unless they were to do the predatory thing and try to
Oops.
extract it externally by an external market. And you have to,
All right, coming your
yeah,
way,
it's really terrible.
Barnacles. Let's see here. I think that
I
should
think the
work.
best thing you could do is write on your profile, Bitclout is a scam, don't buy my coin, and maybe they'll probably delete, they'll steal whatever wealth you have there, I would imagine, because I heard that there are profiles that are shut down, and then people just lose whatever Bitclout tokens they had.
So,
So it's like
am I even able
lose
to
lose.
take it out?
The only way you'd be able to take it out is if you went to the outside of their marketplace and convinced somebody to pay you some sort of money on the outside, and then you transferred from inside your profile to inside their profile, which essentially means somebody gets left holding the bag. So you'd have to make the moral decision of, I'm going to sell this thing that I know may not have a buyer one day, and I got to sell it to somebody else it's called the greater fool's theory. So the greater fool's theory says that you're essentially passing on this thing that you think is worthless, but you're trying to find a greater fool than you are because you bought it first. So you're finding a greater fool. And at some point, somebody is the greatest fool, and they are the last one to be holding that asset, which means there's nobody at the party willing to buy it from them at any price whatsoever, and they are holding the worthless thing that they traded real, or what they could say to be, real wealth or value from another source.
Okay.
Yeah, terrible. It just hurts people. Hey
Hi.
there.
Hello, hello. Let's see. Let me adjust. I'm so glad. Can you can you still hear me twice, everybody? That's fine. Tamar said, we hear you twice. Hi, Tamar. Do you still hear me?
I don't hear you.
You don't hear me at all?
No, I hear you, Jess,
Oh,
but I
okay.
don't hear
Okay. Yes.
Barnacles.
Let's see.
Nothing yet.
See? Audio. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
there you go.
You can
Yeah.
figure out audio. Can you hear me?
It takes a while even for me.
You can hear me twice though, right?
Well, now I can't because I muted the stream. But yeah, on the stream there's a little bit of an echo, so it looks like two audio sources are overlapping, probably in OBS or something like that.
Thank you so much for joining. Thank you.
No, I just saw your tweet go out and I clicked on the stream, and literally right as I clicked on it, I hear my name. I'm like, what?
Ah, I
What
love
are
it.
you talking about? So
What are
I
the
hung out
odds?
for a little while and lurked, and I was like, okay, this is good. People are talking about this because the whole design of the scam is to discourage people from talking about it, and
Right.
and that's what makes this thing so dangerous. Is most people can identify a scam once they've been ripped off, but the problem with this is you're literally punished if you try to ask any questions that are negative about the platform. You're only rewarded if you say positive things. So anybody that comes in with common sense or any thought is immediately pushed to the bottom of the stack, and there's no way to even find them. They just basically get pushed into obscurity. So what they didn't bank on is somebody like me who's willing to just burn money. So I'll just buy my own coin, give myself whatever clout I want and keep myself up in that echelon to where I can keep talking to those people and I keep garnering followers. And it's driving them absolutely nuts. I've had founder accounts message me. They're getting really freaked out about it. So they didn't really think anybody would do that, because the natural tendency is, if you think it's a scam, you're not going to invest into it, then you fall into obscurity. But if you are willing to invest it, like for instance, if PewDiePie decided to call us out as a scam and he just dumped $1 million into his own coin, just throw it away, because he's burning it. You are effectively, it's not a cryptocurrency. That's 100% wrong. The whole thing being advertised as cryptocurrency, 100% wrong. Their one pager says, unlike Twitter, we're a decentralized platform. No, they're not. They're a centralized platform. They own all the nodes. In order to be decentralized, you have to have the source code out. It is a closed source platform. In order to own your assets, which they also claim in the one pagers, that you own your coins that you buy for yourself. No, you don't. Do you have a private key? No, in the crypto world, you have to have a private key. Otherwise, you don't own your wallet. Which means if they shut down the site tomorrow, you have no way to replicate that blockchain and to represent that money that you supposedly have, even if it was worth anything, which it isn't. I was telling Jessica that it's like going to a car dealership, buying a car, and then the car dealership says, okay, have a nice day, but you can't take the car. Really? No, that's a really great analogy of it. Like you bought the idea of a car. Yeah. But what they're going to do is they'll even take it one step further. What they're going to do is try everything they can to talk you into driving the car off the lot before they ultimately have to tell you you don't own the car. So this is how it's going to go. You're going to walk into the dealership. You're going to be like, all right, well, here's $40,000 for this Mercedes. And they're going to be like, yay, good eye on you. $40,000, you got a killer deal. And okay, where's the keys to my Mercedes? Oh, yeah, they're in the back room. Did you want me to go grab those keys for you? Okay, let me go get those keys for you. And then you're walking out the car and they're like, if you get in that car and you drive it, its value is going to go down. So why don't you just leave the car here and then the value will go up? And then you're like, okay, well, I guess that sounds reasonable. A week later, they call you up on the phone. You're like, well, I really want to come get my car. And they're like, listen, hey, your car just went up to $45,000. Like, you could sell it right now for $45,000. You're like, wow, actually, that's a good deal. I want to sell it. Are you stupid? Why would you sell it? Next week, it'll be $50,000. Why would you do that? Right? Yeah. So they're like, so then you go ahead and you're like, okay, fine. Wow, cool. The next week you're like, okay, it's worth $50,000. Wow, I really want to sell it. I need that $50,000. Dude, you know how stupid you are if you sell that? You're going to be really stupid. And this is what they do. If you try to sell your own coin on Bitclout, it pops up and says, we are going to notify every one of your investors that you're selling your coin, and that's going to cause them to sell your coin. That's going to tank your value. You'll have no more clout, and you will be nobody on this platform. So basically, they put up everything in front of you to stop you from ever getting to the point where you can see if you can turn it into real money. So every response I get from somebody is, oh man, there's exchanges. There's people that'll pay you for this coin. There's over-the-counter transactions. You can go on Discord and find somebody to pay you for this coin. And it's like, have you done it?
Right.
Have you tried it? Because I did. I got scammed 3 times, then found one person that gave me $40 for 3 coins. That's the max he could buy, 3 coins. So now you have these P2P exchanges. Right. And these are these guys that are popping up. They're like, hey, listen, we're going to be an exchange, right, for just Bitclout. And you say you're going to sell, and then somebody says they're going to buy, and we do the deal. All they're doing is going to sites like Binance and stuff, tapping into their blockchain to basically be a virtual escrow. So that you're saying, I want to buy a coin, I want to sell a coin. Then they take all those assets, put them into basically, a cryptocurrency like BUSD or something like that. They store it intermittently, and then once people agree to the price, then they commit the transaction. So it's literally like no better than you go into Discord and just trusting somebody, because one person could back out of that transaction, and they're not obligated to refund it. They're not a real business. They're anonymous. They're not insured. They could literally, if everything goes south, they lose all their money, they could just say, you know what, we're just going to close the site down, and there's nobody that can be sued. Nobody. So all these people are trying to say, oh, you can do this, you can sell your coin. But it's like nobody gets to the point where they sell their coin. Everybody I'm talking to is like, oh, I'm worth $17,000. I could sell this tomorrow and go buy a car, and you're just jealous, and that's why you're on the platform. I'm like, dude, I lost $50 because I got roped in by somebody I trusted because they multi-level marketing schemed me on it. And to their credit, they didn't know it was a scam because their friend multi-level marketed sold them, and they lost $3,000. I only lost $50. Yeah. Right? So you pump this money into the platform, and you get on there, and then you're like, oh man, this is really cool. But then you realize a couple of things. This is where it got shady. So it took me about an hour to figure out that this was very scamtastic. What I noticed was the global feed. First of all, it's the simplest platform I've ever seen. The global feed, you can post an image. Okay, that's all. Like on Twitter, you can post videos, you can do all kinds. You can post an image. Not only that, I'm like, where are these images being hosted? Oh, Imager? And Imager doesn't even know that they're using their backend to post the images? So they got busted on that one, and they had to do some damage control. Founders were like, oh, we're because we're a decentralized platform. No, it's decentralized and the blockchain is spread out. It's not decentralized because you decide to use somebody else's storage to put all the images on because you didn't want to pay for the storage to put them in the blockchain. So the whole thing from soup to nuts as a scam, but nobody can see it. And that's what makes this really, really difficult, because I've gone after scammers before. It's kind of a thing that I enjoy doing. But I can tell you right now, this is a hard nut to crack, because even people I know, they're like, oh, you just don't understand crypto. You don't understand the blockchain. It's like, bitch, please. 30 years ago, I did one of the most popular videos on YouTube on how the blockchain works for like 45 minutes, single take, on how Bitcoin works. So if you want to play the whole, you don't understand how the blockchain works, hey, that's fine. And I'm not going to say I'm an expert. I'm by no means a crypto expert. I'm not going to present as such. I don't believe I am. A crypto is an incredibly complex mechanism, but there are a few things about crypto that are non-negotiable, that make crypto crypto. That is decentralization. Bitclout does not have that. That is you being able to own your own wallet. Bitclout doesn't have that. No private keys. You being able to replicate the blockchain. That has to be, you have to be able to do that. Even if you're not going to participate in the actual mining, you have to be able to replicate that blockchain as many times as you want to as many people as you can. That's what gives it its security.
Yeah.
Right? You also have to have the ability, and this is the most important thing with any cryptocurrency, you have to have the ability to profit from verifying transactions or operating on the chain. That's what gives it its distributed nature. None of these things, these are the fundamentals of cryptocurrency. Not a single one of those things that they even name in the one pager exists in Bitclout, yet people still defend that it does. Or if you tell them, and let's say they believe you. I've had a couple people that are like, oh, so what? So what? So it isn't decentralized. Like, this is new. You don't understand. This is like a new craze. It's like, no, this isn't a new craze. This is the same as you having a SQL server and Apache web server and just running your own thing and just charging people money and giving them something on the screen in return for it. This isn't new. This isn't new. Like, oh, you don't understand. This is like the future of cryptocurrency. No, the future of cryptocurrency is not to centralize things. That's what banks already do. Decentralization is what crypto is. So you can't make these people understand, because it's just too complex, and it just drives me nuts, dude.
Yeah, dude, that was perfectly said. And you know what's crazy too? Inside these clubhouse rooms, you know, they're the ones continuing to perpetuate it, because they're on the side where they're trying to, you know, pump up these values. They're trying to go to external exchanges and find other suckers, you know, to try to buy this stuff off of them. It's a mess, you know, and it's. And
the
it's
problem
hard,
is it rewards scammers, right? That's the thing, is it's not just a platform that's a scam. It creates an environment that encourages the predatory behavior. Like you said earlier, actually, you said it really well. I loved what you said earlier before I joined the stream about it being predatory, and you basically are encouraged to pass on getting screwed to the next person.
Yeah.
You honestly said it better than I ever could, because that's exactly what you have here. And it's the same thing as a multi-level marketing scam. We all have that aunt or uncle or sister or brother or friend that's like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur now because I signed up with Shackley or Amway or Herbalife or Kirby vacuum cleaners. You know, it goes on and on. A Pampered Chef, there's a million of them, right? And so what they do is they all become entrepreneurs in these various different businesses, and they all just sell crap to each other.
Yeah.
That's all they do. Everybody, if you've ever noticed, this is what they do. And I'm sorry if this sounds somewhat sexist, because this is my exposure to it. It's like all the wives, right? All the wives all go to this entrepreneurial business. They get involved in it, and they all go to each other's parties and spend all the profit they made from selling their thing, buying the product of the next person. So when they go around and satisfy all their goals, because, you know, you have to get goals, because that's when you get rewards and people say nice things, and then they up your title, and now you're like a senior representative. It's like, okay, hold on. So how much money have you made? I made $1,000. How much of that money is accessible to you right now? Well, none, because I spent that $1,000 split between my other 5 friends so that they hit their goal to get $1,000. But then they came to my party to buy the next round of stuff, so I got my $1,000 back. And all they do is just keep passing the same $1,000 around, but every time they do it, the companies take a little profit.
Yeah.
And so we're feeding the money in. We're feeding the money into it.
Yeah, they're hoping you won't hit the goals and things like that. And people don't realize, they don't realize the whole point was for them to go pull other people in and then pull other people, and then it breaks down when you have no more recruitment left. Crazy. And not only that, but they think it's normal. Like it's pitched to them. You know, a lot of people don't have experience opening a business, trying to build it, and either having it fail or succeed. And they don't realize that that's not normal. These structures that they build are not normal. It's all meant to create these goals that, you know, are essentially siphoning off the wealth of your work, of either recruitment, or maybe you sell a little bit of a product or a little bit of a service, but they don't realize that they're actually they're being predatory to an arbitrage on your trying to reach these goals, because they know they can put out these goals that look achievable and then they're going to pull some value off of you while you try to get to them. So
Yeah. And they encourage this. This is like, I've had friendships and family members I've lost because of multi-level marketing scams. Like it's incredibly common to have a friend that just gets overly aggressive. That's like, dude, I got a Metabolite pill. It's going to make you lose like 100 pounds, dude. It's proven. Like, I read all the documentation on me. I'm really helping you out. And then you're like, I'm just not interested because I can buy B12 for like one-tenth the cost.
Right.
And it's the same active ingredients. Oh, you don't understand, though. Herbalife's done specials. No. They're just rebranding and reselling products. Not a single. Mary Kay does the same thing. They make some of their own products, but they're not formulations that are unique.
right.
You can find them out in the wild for much cheaper, right? It's,
Yeah.
it's a marketing ploy. But the thing is, they get blinded because any normal person from the outside in can tell it's a scam. Even the fellow multi-level marketers are calling each other scammers because they're literally going to their parties and buying crap they don't need to try to get them to hit goals. So they already know it needs to be artificially pumped, and it's not a real thing. So they do it to each other, but it gives you this mindset. It gives you that little dopamine boost in your brain. And that's what Bitclout does. Actually, that's what this comes down to. If you want to get down to the brass tacks of it, is you see a dollar sign next to your name.
And you're like,
That's
oh,
the
I'm worth
thing.
that much.
Yeah.
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 It's a
Yeah, the
value.
dollar-
It's a social
You're like-
value.
You're
Social
like,
value.
man, I am baller. I'm
Yeah.
worth so much. Like, I
Like
signed in, okay.
$26.
Let me tell you guys about my experience getting. So my friend, I won't name him because he honestly didn't mean to scam me. I mean, he put $3,000 into it, so obviously he believed in the platform. So he sends it to me. I go sign up. He's like, okay, well, just put a little bit of Bitcoin in. I tried to put in like $10. It's like, oh, the network fee for Bitcoin's like $12.95, which is also total BS.
Right.
The network fees are high, but they're using the highest possible network fee on purpose because
put
just
more
like an
in.
just like an ATM. If you walk up to an ATM
Right.
and it's $20 fee, you're going to get out $500 whether you need it or not, so that you don't have to keep paying the fee. Totally, right? Totally.
Yeah.
So I go in there and I'm like, okay, so I'm biting because first of all, I go to the site and I'm already skeptical. But my friend recommended it, so that bypasses like 80% of my common sense. Now I go look at the side of the Bitclout webpage and it says Elon Musk, Jimmy,
Right.
Mr. Beast, right?
Yeah.
Ariana Grande.
I have
all these
Elon on my shirt. Like, clearly I'm going to see it and be like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as I see those three names, I'm instantly like, oh my God, if these guys are here, they're geniuses. Like, I
Right.
don't even have to think about this because they did it for me. It
Clearly,
is not
yeah.
obvious they're not on the platform because it literally says, these are our top creators. Like, it literally says our top creators. Like, you're like, okay, so I do that. I pay in my $50. I get my Bitclouts. I'm ready to go. And I'm like, this is the most simplistic platform I've ever been. That was the big red flag at first. As I was like, this is even below Twitter 1.0. This is
Oh, yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Oh,
like
yeah.
this is slow. It's clunky. You can post like one time a minute. It's severely
You couldn't
janky and broken.
retweet. You couldn't
Yeah.
like re-forward until like a week ago or something.
And they even had the button. They even had
I
the
know.
button there, so you thought you could retweet, but you couldn't until you.
Sorry,
actually
this
clicked
feature is
it.
not available yet. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I go on there
it's
and I
not good.
post them like, "Hello, how are you doing? I'm new here or whatever." And of course I bought some of my coin with my $50, so I
'Cause-
think I was valued at like a couple dollars, like $10 a coin or something like that. And all of a sudden the bots come, and the
Oh.
bots just wipe me out. They run me up to $700. I'm like, my coins were $700, and I'm like, oh my God, if I sold right now, I'd be worth like $5,000. So I'm looking for the sell button like crazy. I'm like, I'm not dumb.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, $5,000, I want my money. Okay, click. I'm gonna cash out. Like, screw this hodl life, right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking for this button. It doesn't exist. I'm like, okay, this is a little weird. So then I'm looking around. I'm like, okay, so how do I sell my coin? Like, how do I do that? And so I post on the global feed, and of course, the global feed is liking me right now because my value is super high, right? Like, because all the bots pumped me up, and before they dumped me, I had like real
Sorry,
clout
everybody.
for a second.
Oops.
So I go up to the top. What's that?
Oh, sorry. I pulled up a browser into that.
Oh, no
Continue.
worries.
Yeah, this is great.
So I go up to the top of the global feed and I'm like, hey guys, how do I sell my coin? And I instantly get like a million messages back. They're like, oh dude, yeah, you just got to go on this like OG Discord server and enter this room and just say you got coins to sell. And like somebody's going to come and buy them from you. And I'm like, wait, whoa. So we start a conversation. I'm like, so I have to send them my Bitclout and hope that they're going to send me BTC. So then I'm like, okay, screw it. I'm gonna play the game. Now at this point, I've already been devalued. The bots already crashed me down to I think it was $100 at the time, $90 at the time. But still, that was a lot on the platform at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I go to the Discord. I'm like, hey guys, I got some coins to sell or whatever, and I instantly get like 50 messages from obvious bots that are like, yes, we buy, sell hard, send, pay $50, real money coin. I'm like, okay, so what do I do? Okay, send your Bitclout to this wallet. Like, no instructions. Is there an escrow? How does this work? Nothing. Just, no, send your Bitclout to this wallet. And I see a ton of messages in the blockchain that are like, when I'm looking through, that you don't see on the global feed because they're down at the bottom. I just sold my coins and the person didn't send me my Bitcoin. Who do I complain to?
Yeah.
Oh, hoo. Too bad you got gamed, right? So those people automatically go to the bottom because the second you sell your coins, you no longer have any clout. It is literally like you selling your reputation. That money, it's not a dollar value. It's your reputation on the platform. So if you have $0, nobody on that platform is going to see you. You can't post, you can't follow, you can't like, you can't do anything because every action on that platform costs a gas fee on the network.
Yeah.
So as soon as you sell all your Bitclouts and you're at 0, you are deaf, dumb, and blind, and all you can do is look at what other people post, which means you are forced to put more money back into it to get your voice back. And then if you only put a little bit of money back in, your voice is going to be so far down near the bottom, the only people that are going to hang out with you is everybody else that got ripped off. Nobody else is going to be able to see you. So
do you remember Black Mirror where they had the social score, the 5 stars? It's like that with the ability to pay in to try to keep your stars from going down.
Oh my God.
It totally is. Yeah, actually, I didn't think about that until you mentioned that, but it totally is. Or the Orville episode, right?
Yeah.
With the little buttons on their chest where you clicked it for the up and down, like somebody spilled your coffee on you and you'd reach over and just punch him in the boob or what seemed like that was a real bad dude. But anyways, you're like downvote. Once you get to a certain level of downvotes, like society basically wants to throw you in jail, right?
Yep.
And that's what Bitclout is, except for jail is being silenced. So now you have a platform that literally on its surface and its one pager it advertises as being this freeing platform. It's not suppressive like the Twitter and the Facebook, which by all means, I'm not defending. Like social media is predatory to some extent. It all is.
Yeah.
But the difference is, you know what you're getting. Like if you go to Facebook, they sell your information. You don't give them money. They sell your info. They sell the marketability to you to other companies so that they can sell you crap. But you're buying stuff and you're getting stuff. It's a transaction. On Twitter, same thing. It's marketing, right? They figure out what ads to put in front of you at the right time that you are most likely to buy. Therefore, they can charge advertisers more per ad. It's a higher revenue stream. Bitclout takes it to a whole new level, which is like, listen, we got a guy named Diamond Hands. You just send him grip shits of real money. Sorry, I don't know if I'm cussing on the street. Sorry, I cuss a lot on the street.
Funny. I'm a sailor, but I've been trying to not.
Yeah, I know. I'm just ruining
No.
monetization right now.
It's
I don't think
it's all good. It's all good. I'm so honored to have you here. Thank you.
This is literally me on my best behavior too. I usually on Twitch, I'm just like F this. I'm screaming and throwing stuff around the room. I get a little animated. I'm sorry.
I love it. No, I love it. I am animated. So animated. People think I love it.
This is a blast. I'm glad you had me on. This is a lot of fun.
I'm so honored. Yeah, it's nice to have somebody more animated than me, to be honest.
ADHD is a hell of a drug. Isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm on drugs. No, but
On ADHD drugs, everybody. Just to clarify, prescribed. Okay,
Oh,
everybody.
wait. Do we got a third? Oh, by the way, I didn't catch your name. I'm sorry. What's
I'm Philip.
Philip or?
Yeah, Philip.
Yeah,
Yep.
Philip.
What's up? Can I call you Phil for short because I'm
Yeah,
lazy?
Phil. Yeah, that's fine.
And I'm Jessica.
Also, I knew who you were.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Sorry,
Thank
Phil.
you.
I know that was like a power play right there,
All
wasn't
good.
it? No. I'll just eventually you guys will just be like J and P Dog. Like I'll somehow get it down to like
I'm
one
in.
letter because that's how lazy I am.
I'm totally in. You're so much like me.
The Black Mirror episode that you're talking about, like where the social clout pushes you down and limits your abilities, right? So now when you compare it to how Twitter makes a profit, you go over to Bitclout and it's like this is literally what it is. Like this isn't even an analogy. This is literally it's like the South Park episode where it's like this is what Scientologists really believe, right? I am telling you the absolute truth. This is not an analogy. This is not a comparison. Would you like people to be able to see your post on Bitclout? Head on over and send real money to this guy named Diamond Hands that nobody is supposed to know who he is, but everybody knows who he is now. He's been outed. Go give real money to this Diamond Hands thing, and he's going to write some stuff on a piece of paper, just like an IOU that he's going to hand you. And then you can show that to other people on the platform so that they can see your post.
Yeah.
And after you give out too many of those pieces of paper, you have to go back and send him more money to get more of those pieces of paper. But he's the only one that can create them. He's the only one that can sign them. He's like a doctor. It's like he's the only one that can do a prescription.
Yeah.
So if you need stuff, you have to go back to him. But it's like, okay, maybe I don't want him in the deal. Maybe I'll buy the coins from somebody else, right? Okay, I'm not going to spend $170 just because he says it's $170, even though it's not $170. Look at the volume. The volume. There's 8 million coins. From the day the blockchain came online, there was 8 million coins in Diamond Hand's pocket.
Yep.
That's $1.8 billion at like current market value. If that thing went public and we were allowed to mine it and we were allowed to distribute it, that coin value would drop to $170 to less than Doge.
Yeah. Well, I was telling Jessica that I'm going to start my unicorn token, and everybody can buy it at the fantastic low price of $1,200, and I have 20 billion of them, and it's a steal. You know,
It is, dude. I'll buy 10. I mean, I got roped into Bitclout. Why not, man? I'll give you $50 too. Let's do this. Everybody just have their own coin.
I would like to point out that I'm keywording this video as we're talking, and is Bitclout a scam? Is one of the, it's 72.7% put in. So we're getting through to people.
That means we're making a difference.
Making a difference.
Yeah, I hope so. Because I really do worry about people, especially new people to the space. Whenever we have bull cycles in the price of Bitcoin, it usually brings in new attention. And I know last year was a really hard economic year. A lot of people were displaced.
Yeah.
And a lot of people saw the stock market run up, and then they saw Bitcoin run up. And they're thinking, I don't want to be left out of the next thing that runs up. And they go, oh, this thing has been out for 6 weeks. I'm early. And I don't want people to fall prey to something that's going to hurt them. And I believe this would hurt them. And I think there's a lot of people out there that have already been hurt. And it's really hard to reach out to people. I've tried to play pretend in clubhouse rooms. And then if somebody asks a question, it's obvious that they're very new and people are saying, oh, go buy Bitcoin on Coinbase and then transfer it and buy Bitclout. I'll send them a message through their Twitter or through their Instagram and try to help them. But it's just it's so big that, we need as many voices as we can to help, we're our brother's keepers, so we're supposed to try to help our brothers and sisters that we don't know, and do what we can to, protect them and the value that they've earned, and their path in life, to optimize.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And one thing that people that do any research on me will figure out really, really quick is I am the king of just throwing gobs of money in the garbage if it's for the betterment of other people.
Oh, that's
I have literally cut my own throat a million times in this business. Like, I have turned sponsors away. I don't do anything with the Raid Shadow Legends or the Raycon. I don't jump on any of those $10,000 a pre-roll, sell you some garbage rebranded stuff. I don't do any of that, even though that money is always offered to me. It's always put on the table. It's right here waiting for you, Barnacles. Just come on over and grab it.
Yep.
I don't do that crap. And by doing that, of course, even in real society outside of Bitclout, that does limit your growth and limit your options. So what I did is I got to a certain size by playing the game, and then once I got to a certain size where I broke through the glass ceiling, I was like, you know what? Now I can just do whatever I want. and so that affords me a lot. But I mean, I've been going backwards for like 2 years. I don't make that much money doing this, but I make enough to survive, and so that allows me to just say whatever I want and do whatever I want. It's like the most liberating feeling ever, because I literally can take a loss myself. I don't have to pass the buck on to somebody else. I can literally be like, if I made a mistake, I'm going to learn from that mistake and try to teach others how to avoid it themselves.
And that's a long-term investment strategy in your brand, because I was telling other people, once you destroy your brand, I was telling some of the people that confided in me that they were scamming people on Bitclout, essentially. I said, once your brand is gone, you're done. Like, you think you're going to reinvent yourself on the internet? You know, that maybe you'll get away with it, but then you're going to have to keep running scams over and over. And, and that's going to be your life. You're going to be living in that cycle. Like, don't ever try heroin, because it could lead down a very terrible road.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, I got a message. Somebody said on stream that they can barely hear me or Phil.
Oh, thank you.
Is it like maybe our volume needs be brought up a little bit? I don't know. I muted the stream so that we didn't have the wild, da 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 ga 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 ga.
Yeah.
Oh, you know that now. You're familiar. Okay. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that
I have
somebody
nothing but
said that.
audio problems. I stream 3 times a week on Twitch and 1 time a week on YouTube, and I've never gotten the audio right out of the gate. Not once. Out of like 1,000 streams, I've never once just clicked the button and it worked right.
And you've got a big channel, like a really big channel. So
I mean, I think it's gone down in size actually. It's like 890,000 subs on YouTube, and
Oh
then
my
on
gosh.
Twitch I think I have 117,000 followers or something.
I'm wow. Okay.
I was
So
almost at 1 million one time until you guys probably noticed from following me on social media. I also did the whole I'm going to speak out about politics when everybody's like, oh, don't do that, it'll kill your brand. I mean, it did lose me like 50,000 subs, but I didn't care. That's the thing. You got it. When you see people getting screwed, you have to say something. And not enough people do that. And Bitclout is actually proving a really valuable lesson if people learn it before they get burned too bad. And that is, if you just tell people what they want to hear, they will just say screw reality. Like if you are willing to just sit there and just lie to a person's face, even if they think you're a little scummy and they think you might be lying, as long as it makes them feel better in the moment, they'll forgive it for the future. And that's really weird. That's a culture that I don't really know what fostered that, but it's definitely there. Like you go on Bitclout, and you have these people that'll reply back to you that their coin's only worth like $20, $30 or something, which is like to them is huge, right? They might have started out at $1. And now they're like $30, and they're like, wow, and I own like 10 of my coins. And every time somebody invests like $3 in them, they go up a little bit. And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm going up, and more people are seeing their posts. The second you notify them about the scam, this is what they do. They reply back to you. You're just mad because we're finally making money, and we couldn't make money before. And,
I'm going to check the audio real quick. I'll be right back.
Go for it. But he's like, you're trying to get us. What's your angle? Who's paying you to launch this propaganda campaign?
Right.
And I reply back to him, I'm like, have you sold any of this? Like, have you gone through the whole life cycle? Have you seen this? Because let me be the first to say, if there was a way right now for you to convert your Bitclout back into Bitcoin, even at 80%, which would be lower than an exchange would ever do, even at 80% of its original value, I'd be, and it was enough volume that anybody could do it when they wanted to. Yeah. I'd be like, yeah, this isn't a scam. Go for it. If people want to pay a bunch of, if people want to pay a bunch of money to be at the top, and they want to cash out to just say screw it and go somewhere else, let them do it. But unfortunately, that's not the case. But everybody believes it is. It goes back to the car analogy of, hey, you probably shouldn't drive that. It'll go up in value. Nobody gets to the point where they actually will sell. And then when they get to the point where they actually sell and they can't, instead of going, oh my God, this might be a scam, because at that point they're too invested. Then they're like, you know what? I'm just going to say, oh, it's a new platform. It's going to have teething pains. It's going to take time. You know,
blah, blah, blah.
Exactly. You get the blah, blah, blah. It's like everything's excuses. It's like that person that gets like beat by their spouse, and they're like, oh, but he's really a good guy. You know, he was just mad. You know, and it's like at some point you have to stop making excuses and be like, listen, you got the short end of that deal. You need to get the hell out of it, cut your losses, and get out. Instead of making excuses and hoping that one day your Bitclout is going to be worth like $1 million. Like I had one guy message me, he's like, oh, did you see this screenshot of this curve that goes up to like $10,000 a Bitclout coin? I'm like, why do you think Bitclout's going to go to $10,000? The reason Bitcoin is worth what it is today is because it's mined by the community, and it's diminishing returns. It takes more power to get the same amount of coin out of the system.
And not only that, but there's an open market, so people can decide to sell and buy at their bid and ask. And they
that's
find
where the price
middle,
of the coin comes from.
Yeah.
Like, let me ask you this. So where does the value of Bitclout come from? Because everybody's like, oh man, it's worth what somebody's willing to pay for it, right? Where does the value of Bitclout come from? Like the $170 today or whatever.
The determination of their just telling you that the same way with my unicorn coin. It's $1,200 and that's a deal, and I'm telling you it's a deal. You know,
exactly.
There's no market to allow the price discovery, you know, so because you can't take custody, you know, so you can't go to the open market. It's crazy. And then there's people that are addicted. You know, there really are people addicted to it's the same mental thing that maybe is associated with cigarettes or gambling or things like that, where they become addicted to these things that really are pitched well with hope and enthusiasm and excitement, and they get that euphoria, they get that little high, and they're in. And now they're feeling high, and they want to keep feeling high, so they talk to other people that keep making them feel high until they get burned, and then they're gonna have that crash, they're gonna feel the depression, and then eventually they're gonna reset, and then they're gonna go find the next one when they're back on the level again, and they're back you know, working hard, but they feel like they want to make more than what they're getting working hard, you know, and they're going to keep looking for those opportunities, and then they're going to feel like they missed out on others, and then the excitement is going to build because they found a new one, you know, and a lot of promises. So it's a psychological element to it, and I think it's our job to, you know, look out for as best we can with influence to help, you know, be you know, caretakers for other, if we can, and give them our opinion, you know, and say, hey, we want to be a rational voice. We're not going to participate in exuberance. You know, we'll talk about this together, and, you know, we hope we can, you know, give you, you know, a piece of support. And I tell people too that tell me that, no, I'm just, you know, whatever excuse they might say, but they're in it 100%. And I say, you know, that's a personal decision you've made. I'm always here for you. You know, it doesn't diminish our relationship. I'm always here if you want to chat. You know, if you ever have questions or whatever, we're going to pick this up later. But I understand what you're saying right now is, you know, you're okay with what, you know, where we've spoken about this to this point. So that's
You're a nicer guy than I am, because I eventually hit a point where it's like, listen, I literally ran out in traffic and pulled you out in front of a bus like 20
Yeah.
times. Like, sorry, 21, I'm just going to watch you get smashed at that point and go try to help somebody else that I can actually help. 'Cause we literally have so much energy, right? We can only help so many people. And it's like, if I spend all my time trying to help Mr. Magoo walking out into traffic, I can't help the 30 people that accidentally just get hit by cars.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so and that's what it comes down to. It's like, you know, you try to help somebody, but if you can't, you move on and
Well,
you try to help somebody else. Like I saved Luke Skywalker yesterday.
What?
I
What?
saved Luke Skywalker.
How?
Mark Hamill. I tweeted Mark Hamill and said, they've literally sold like $1 million of your Bitclout coin without your permission, creating your profile, and he literally retweeted his audience and he said, "This is the biggest identity theft scam I've seen in a long time. Please dodge this. Stay the hell away." And I mean, literally, it reached 5 million people. And he replied back to me and he said, "Thank you so much for letting me know about this." Dude, he literally had 100,000 people go and engage his Bitclout account and buy his coin.
That's
without
insane.
ever notifying him that he wasn't even on the platform. Like, that's not your fans buying your coin, dude. That's scammers that are just trying to use your image to make them as much money as possible. Plus, it was one of the 15,000 preloaded coins that was funded to the roof by Diamond Hands.
You know, interesting too. He may even have fans that think he's going to get that money, and they're like, you know what? I'm a big fan of his. I'm going to buy this coin, and Mark's going to get it one day, and he'll be so thankful that I was an early fan to give them my wealth, you know, and we essentially split it 50-50, you know, because I'm in it with him too, and they don't realize, like, you know, that they're just getting taken, you know, and that the person on the other side is not getting that value. They're not, you know, it's not anything. So
yeah, Jessica, make sure you add Mark Hamill as a keyword.
Mark Hamill, you got it.
Hey, we're talking about clout here, so let's talk about how to do the clout thing the proper way. We don't want to send Diamond Hands $1 million.
I love it.
And the thing is, you can't catch them all. Like, unfortunately, a couple celebrities have been pulled into this so far. Pamela Anderson, I checked with her publicist. She's legitimately on the platform. That is her Bitclout account. So they were successful in pre-funding her account and getting her attention.
I'm sorry. Did you say you were able to get in touch with Pamela Anderson's publicist?
Publicist, correct.
Oh my gosh.
Here's
It's a
the
big
way it
deal.
works, Jessica. I'm gonna let the rabbit out of the hat of how this whole YouTube thing works.
Okay.
Once you eventually get to the point where you have like 100 million views on YouTube and enough people in the world know who you are, whether they hate you or love you, somehow you get to a level where platforms start verifying you, and then when you have a little check mark next to your name, somehow celebrities just think you're another celebrity and you show up in their little verified feed. So whenever I message a celebrity, it's like 9 out of 10 times I'll get a reply back to him at some point.
cool.
So I try not to abuse it though, because like it's a really easy thing to abuse. But like I tried to notify Dane Cook. Unfortunately, he actually joined the platform legitimately, and he DM'd me. And
He's
I love
on
Dane Cook.
Clubhouse. I go into his rooms. I'll listen to him at like 3 a.m. in the morning on Clubhouse, talking about
Yeah, no, I
whatever.
absolutely love Dane Cook. He is an amazing comedian. I messaged him, he DM'd me, and we had a little conversation back and forth. And he's like, I did my research, and he's like, to be honest, everything I've ever invested in my life, people said it was a scam, and he said it usually pans out. So I was like, okay, you know, fair point, whatever. At least you're on the platform. Like you went and joined. It's your profile or whatever. But here's the thing that I don't think he really understands in the research that he's done. Is he can't ever get any of that money out.
Well,
because if he ever sells it, his fans will leave.
Well, do you think there's been a backdoor deal, like for people like Chamath or Dane Cook to cash out somehow? They're getting some kind of, maybe it's a sponsorship or an endorsement or whatever legal contract. But like, I feel like if I was Chamath, I'd be like, I want to make sure I have my ROI like set in stone. Like, why would I take a loss on anything? You know.
Well, hey, look at the variables though. Okay, so I think you're onto something there. Now again, now we're going to speculative territory because I don't have the evidence. Even though everything that I'm about to say will make sense, I can't prove it as of yet. But just look at the variables, right? Path of least resistance usually is right. Right? Is Occam's razor? Let's apply that right here. So you have a platform that has successfully raised about $160 to $180 million just in fake celebrity accounts. That's not counting the total $400 million raised in Bitcoin. And we can confirm this number. It all goes to one Bitcoin wallet. Every time you buy a Bitclout, the money goes to one wallet. And that one wallet is owned by Diamond Hands. We know that. We've already done the tracking with the money moving around between him and the Russian hacker group Hydra. So we already know that it is him because he's had prior dealings with them and transfers to him. So we know it's his wallet. So, and that's why they sent the cease and desist to him. That's why they know it's him, right? But he's never going to admit. He's never going to fess up and be like, yeah, I own the platform, because there's a million lawsuits looking for him right now.
Oh, yeah.
So again, speculative, but 99% probably the case. So now let's say they have 160, let's say it's low side, $160 million in Bitcoin that they've raised from just impersonating celebrities. It would be in their best interest to just pay the celebrities a cash amount to claim their account and tweet to their audience so that they could gain access to those millions of fans to come to their platform that are ultimately going to spend an absorbent amount of money to buy enough of their coin to get their message high enough in the stack to where they can interact with them. So what you're probably having here, and again, I'm just speculating, but somebody like Dane Cook, he's a pretty big guy, right? I mean, he's got millions of followers. I'd imagine that if he really did his research on the platform, he would know that, one, he can never pull his money out of the platform, because if he sells a single coin at like $44,000 or whatever, it's going to tank his value. And then as soon as it tanks his value, all his investors will back out, which will further tank his value. His clout will drop to the bottom, and he'll be the weakest celebrity on the platform. So he can't do that. So his money is untouchable. Everything that he's invested and everything everybody else has invested, other people can trade in and out of it, but he's stuck. Every coin that he owns, they transferred to him when he took ownership of his account. He can never sell that. So there's no value to be made there money-wise. So why would he adopt a platform like that is so skeezy? Right. The only reason is, like you said, is I'm sure that it was a deal that was done with his manager that was like, hey, listen, this new platform, they're offering us, $5 million or $10 million for you to go claim your account and tweet out a couple things going, hey, come on over to my platform. And you're probably not going to see him ever post there again. It'll probably just be other people that work for him, like the publicist and stuff. Like Pamela Anderson's account, that's not her posting. It's obviously the publicist in the network that's like posting like, oh, you want to sign up to win my Playboy cover or something like that. No, she's not on there. She's not on any social media. Pamela Anderson isn't even on Twitter or Facebook. She doesn't care about social media. She probably just got the payoff, right? So, and this is common. Celebrities do endorsements all the time. Now, where it gets a little dicey is I've yet to see a single celebrity come forward and explain what the deal was, and that's where it gets a little skeezy. Because if it was a legitimate corporation, they would have to come forward. Like, I think it's like in their Screen Actors Guild thing, if they're an actor or an actress, they basically have to fully disclose, and because of the FCC laws in the United States, they have to disclose any monetary relationship with a corporation. But this is where it gets a little dicey. Is Bitclout a corporation? Because Bitclout is it's operated outside of the United States. It's one single individual that owns and operates it, and no physical money ever trades hands, just Bitcoin to an anonymous wallet. So is there any way to literally say that is a corporation? Unless you know who owns that wallet. Like once you know 100% who owns that wallet and you can put handcuffs on him, then that guy goes to jail for a long time. Right. But if they can't prove that and the right obfuscation has been used, all these celebrities could take Bitcoin from these things. Now they'll have to pay taxes on the Bitcoin that they take. Right. But did they really, like, is it any different than somebody just giving them a bunch of Bitcoin? Like, do they have to disclose the relationship if it's a big scammy anonymous platform? I'd say probably not.
I was going to say, and I wish it was possible to do an interview with one of them, because, man, their brand is at stake. Like they're risking their brand. Like I would love to hear their thoughts on, like, because they have to do assessment. Like not only that, like, their publicists must have to do assessments, or whoever looking at their, wealth management has to do assessments. Like whoever their legal team is has to do risk assessment. Like, I don't understand. Like, did all those things come into alignment? Like, I would love to hear. Or was it, this is a fun thing and no big deal either way, like some kind of attitude.
I think the answer is simple. And this is going to sound really conceited and asshole-ish of me to say, but just the elephant in the room is their careers are on the dive. They're on the back end of their careers. Yeah, and, true. Dane Cook, great comedian and everything, but you don't see a lot of specials on Netflix anymore. You don't see the guy doing a lot of stand-up in big venues. He's definitely on the backside of his career, right? Everybody has an expiration date. Mine was like 2 years ago. So everybody has an expiration date. Pamela Anderson. When was the last time you ever saw Pamela Anderson in anything, right? If somebody walked up to her and says, Pamela, we're going to give you $1 million if you just come over here and talk dirty to these guys on our platform. Like she'd probably be like, and my publicist can do it. I don't even have to do it. She's like, well, I'm already basically retired. So yeah, I'll take $1 million. I'm not on social media anyway, so I don't really give a shit. My brand isn't going to be affected by this because there's always going to be like horny boys out there. I mean, being completely honest, I mean, she has no risk. Dane Cook has very little risk. Yeah, he pisses off some of his audience, but the dude is literally a shock comedian. Yeah. The guy makes jokes about like the most horrendous things.
I'll never forget his BK Lounge joke.
God, it gets so disgusting. Yes, but the thing is, he takes stuff to crazy levels. He reminds me of what's the Aristocrats or whatever, the group of comedians that were in on doing the really, really dirty jokes. The guy from Full House, Bob Saget.
Oh, yeah.
Go look up the Aristocrats sometime. You will never be able to watch Full House again because Bob Saget literally tells jokes that are so bad you don't know how he's not arrested. I mean, I can't even repeat the context of the jokes he's saying. That's how bad the imagery is. It's so terrible. And you're like, how is this coming out of Bob Saget's mouth?
Oh, it's so
And they got
disturbing.
like Bobcat Goldthwait and stuff, just saying the most like horrendous stuff that you would not expect to hear from the most like satanic person on planet Earth. And it's a running joke because they like to shock each other. There's like this joke that goes on among comedians that's never supposed to go to the public called the Aristocrats. But then it went public because they were all on the
Wait,
backside
are
of the
you a
pyramid.
comedian?
No. I mean, people
Really?
think I'm a comedian.
You're
but not really,
hilarious.
no.
Oh my gosh.
No, people
I'd love
have said
to
I should
see
do
a,
comedy.
I would love to see a roast battle, you against, as I echo from like a background well, it sounds like I'm like in a hole looking up.
I'm game. Put it together and I'll show up because I don't do
Okay.
anything for money anymore. I just do stuff for lulz. That's my payment system.
Did you just
now.
say lols?
Lulz? I do things for the lulz. Sorry. I'm still trying to be relevant at like 41 years old. It's hard. So I gotta use a lot of acronyms and stuff. I do it with a U, not even an O. It's like the LULZ. It's like the lulz. So
I'll set up a roast battle. I gotta find
do
somebody
it.
else. Who else wants
I'll
to
get,
do it?
I'll get in here and go to town.
Dude.
But my point being with like
I
Dan
love
Cook
it.
and Pamela Anderson stuff, it's like all the celebrities I've seen join the Bitclout platform, they're all people that really they're on the backside of their career. So their brand really doesn't matter, or it's so fortified that there's just not, I mean, literally their brand is to be shocking and to upset things. So their audience is more than likely just not really going to care one way or another. So that's why you don't see like Mark Hamill. Like Mark Hamill was like, hell no, because the guy's like literally got a contract with Disney. He voices the Joker and cartoons. I mean, the guy, you may not have seen him on camera, but behind the camera as a voice actor, dude has a hugely successful career. He's literally the main actor in like one of the most famous movies of all time. And the entire series is transferred to Disney. Obviously, his brand is still very, very hot. And so he couldn't risk doing something like that.
I wanted to bring up Chamath again, though. I mean, that guy, he's got a lot on the line. He's, he is still ramping up in his career, multi-billionaire now, but he's got a lot of really important vehicles moving forward. And I just wonder what, for risk assessment, why risk on something like this platform when he's got other legitimate things like taking companies public? I mean, those are some important trust. You need huge amounts of trust to establish those relationships and make those efforts come through, in finance. So, like for that, I wish I could, speak to him and go, hey, like, what would what are you thinking? Like, or, what are your thoughts? Or how did you come to this conclusion that this was going to be something you'd participate in? So it's just like, I don't know. I mean, it's just open-ended. I wish there was a way to interview him and say, hey, like, what's
As much as I hate to say it, I think he's an early investor and a founder. Like, I think he's one of the founders. I think he's related to one of the founders because I don't see any other reason why he'd get involved in a $500,000 scandal. Like, I think this is one of those things where it's like he's hoping that if it pays off, he walks away with a big payday. And he already has. Let's be honest. He already has. Like, even if he was just an early investor, I'm sure they already paid him out of the first round of $350 billion million in Bitcoin. I'm sure they already paid him off. Whatever his investment is, he's made and then some. So worst case scenario, he takes a hit at the end and he says, "Oh, it was just a bad investment."
Gotcha.
Now here's the thing. People, this is what I get cited a lot, and this is what I really want to address. Is the most common thing you see from the educated crypto guys. Those guys don't exist on Bitclout. If you're on Bitclout and you're an educated crypto guy, you know it's a scam and you're screwing over other people.
Yeah.
That's there's only two people on there. Either you're ignorant and you're getting scammed, or you understand exactly how the platform works and you're using it to your advantage to screw everybody else.
Or the third person is you're a predator.
Or you're just a predator. I'd put that in category two, is that you're just a predator. like you're just preying on people for personal gain. But the way I see it is investors make these bad decisions all the time. And so people come forward to me and they're like, hey, how could this be like the Winklevoss twins? They invested in it. They invested in Facebook. No, the Winklevoss twins made Facebook. Zuckerberg ripped them off and stole it away, and they got sprinkled some crumbs of it. It didn't work. Watch the movie. It didn't work out the way that they keep advertising. The Winklevoss twins should have owned Facebook.
Right.
They didn't because of a technicality. They literally got the carpet pulled out from underneath them. So they've been screwed on investments before, is what I'm trying to say. These are not Warren Buffett. Would anybody here argue that Warren Buffett isn't like the most successful investor of all time? Like, there is not another single person on this planet that has invested as much money and got as high of a return over the course of his life than Warren Buffett. Like, he is literally the gold standard. Warren Buffett invested in Theranos. Does anybody know what Theranos is?
Yes.
Yeah.
A
So
scam.
Theranos was the biggest scam in history. It was a company that literally made nothing
Yeah.
that got to a valuation of over $1 billion.
Yep.
And Warren Buffett was all in on the company and promoting it and saying, oh, this is the future, this is the future, this is the future. Why would Warren Buffett invest in something like Theranos without making 100% sure that it was legit? Well, because investors don't have time to go look at all the tiny little details and analyze everything. They basically look at what the company's statement is, what they're claiming they're going to accomplish, how they think they're going to get there, and then they decide whether or not it's worth investing in. It's a risk even for investors. There's no sure things. So even Warren Buffett has bet and lost before. So my point is, when you say, oh, Chamath's investing, and you got these guys like the Winklevoss twins, and Coinbase is investing. Okay, well, also Coinbase is also a cryptography exchange, so it makes a hell of a lot of sense for them to be involved in something like this, whether they're legit or not. Just because of the sheer volume of Bitcoin that's going to be transacting back and forth.
Exactly.
So, and plus first right of refusal. So I'm sure that if this did become something that was an exchangeable coin, Coinbase is going to be the first exchange to do it, and they're going to take their cut. And why would they be the first? Because they were an investor in the platform, and I'm sure it was written into the contract that they would be the first ones to be able to list it on an exchange. That way everybody has to come and create a Coinbase account if they want to cash out their money.
Yep.
So all these investors make sense when you look at them from a top-level perspective, and it's easy for them to make a mistake. Because again, this is an anonymous platform that's hosted out of country. Nobody knows who the founder is, which also raises the question, how the hell do you become an investor in something when you can't like literally find the CEO of the company? Like, I don't believe for a second Coinbase would invest in a company unless they knew the true identity behind it. So I believe Chamath and all these people know, like, physically know the person that owns this thing and created
And
it.
you know what's funny? Coinbase could have invested by just putting their name. They may not even had to put any kind of asset into it. And they're like, yeah, you get to say that we invested in you, aka we want a payout one day, or we want exclusivity. And then they go, oh, we got Coinbase as an investor. And meanwhile, it's just a mutual agreement that if they do go to an exchange, it's exclusive rights, you know, and there's no risk, you know.
Yeah, it's just, this looks like one of those things where people think they can trust the platform because there's such big investors and because there's such top creators like Elon Musk and stuff, but we already know the celebrities are impersonated. We already know that the values of their coins were artificially inflated from that original 8 million coins on the Genesis block. Those literally, and this is what invalidates the platform. Like, people are like, oh, it's not a scam. Like, this is the one I got this morning. Guy replies to me, he goes, hey, listen. He's like, I'm glad that you're using your clout. He says, you're glad you're using your clout on the platform to you know, run the siren or to fire the siren to let people know that this could be a little shady. He's like, I appreciate that. But he said, I think it's unfair that you call something like this a scam. And I replied back to him and I said, listen, I'm not just willy-nilly calling this a scam. And I gave him bullet points in several posts. I said, listen, the one pager, the thing that they sell you on, when you go to the platform and you click, what the hell is Bitclout? The synopsis of several pages says that this is a decentralized platform that is different than Twitter, and that the crypto that you buy on there can be sold, and it goes up in value, and it has real monetary, they keep saying real monetary value. And it goes through and says all this crap in this one pager, and I went through bullet point by bullet point and told this guy, every single thing they said in that thing can be absolutely disproven. Not my opinion, fact, by your own analysis. And I said, tell me why I can't call this a scam when the entire synopsis of what the platform is an intentional and bold-faced lie.
Right.
And I got crickets chirping. The dude did not respond back to me. He didn't say anything. And he has a value of like $9,000, so I go click on his thing. I'm like, how did this guy get to $9,000? Out of his top 5 investors, 3 of them were funded from the Genesis block. So for those of you guys that don't understand how this works, when the crypto, when a blockchain comes online, so when a mommy and a daddy cryptocurrency get together and want to create a baby cryptocurrency, and that blockchain pops out and comes into the world, that blockchain has a block, one block, and it's called the Genesis block because it's the genesis of life of that cryptocurrency. It's a Genesis block. And the Genesis block contains a couple of really important pieces of information. One, it contains the seed that every single block after it will be computed from. So it's like, it's literally like it's like your DNA. It's a stem cell of the thing. You can't create any other entry in the thing without that Genesis block existing, and everything after it just makes it more and more secure. So the other thing in the Genesis block is how many coins exist at that point in time. So when a cryptocurrency comes into existence, you can choose to have 0 coins, which a lot of them do. and then you distribute the cryptocurrency, and people mining create the coins, and then the new blocks that come in are new coins, right? So, what is that, a Tesla?
Over the moon.
Oh, got it. Oh,
That was
yeah.
Starman and it.
Dude, don't even get me started on Elon Musk, man. I don't know how the SEC hasn't gone and like tased that guy into the ground yet for stock manipulation.
Hey,
Like,
come on.
I love Elon. He's a genius. The dude's gonna get us to Mars. I love everything he's made. I wish I had a Tesla. But here's the thing. I gotta be real about Elon Musk. He flies. He's like Icarus. That dude is literally touching his toes to the sun. I mean, the dude goes on Twitter and literally, like, look at Doge. Look at Dogecoin.
Wait, let's go to another topic, because I firmly
I know
love
you
Elon
love.
Musk.
Hey, just so you don't pass out. Just so you don't pass out, Jessica, because obviously I was eventually going to say something offensive. Just so you don't pass out, I love Elon is a genius and an inventor, and I believe that a lot of things he's done to change this world forever. I love Elon, but he is a shrewd-ass businessman that will set you on fire for $20. So that's how he got to his position. So. He's a genius, but genius doesn't work alone. There's got to be a lot of finances behind the genius to be able to build rocket ships going to Mars. So, like Bill Gates. I've met Bill Gates several times in my life. Bill Gates seems like this harmless little old man. No, that guy is like cutthroat.
Shrewd. Oh, yeah.
He is shrewd, man. I would listen to the conversation for like 20 minutes, and I had to get out of the room because I was like, this dude will have my family killed.
Oh, yeah.
If it means making Microsoft stock go up like $2. This is back in the day. I think he's a little more chill these days. But my point being is, there's a lot of people that can manipulate financial ventures, right? And in this case, Bitclout is like, you know, anybody that is associated with this Genesis block is a mobster.
Yeah.
So let me explain. So the Genesis block, when you bring it online, I was saying that you have 0 coins, or you have 10 coins, 100 coins, 1,000 coins, whatever. You could start the block with 1 trillion coins if you wanted to. But is it going to gain any value when the blockchain starts with 1 trillion coins and the person that created the blockchain is the only one that owns them? Because remember that. There's only one wallet. The Genesis block, at that point, there is one wallet.
Right.
There is however many coins you decide to just will into existence without any work or any mining or anything. And that's what happened with Bitclout, is the very first Genesis. But you can go look at it yourself. This stuff you can look up on explorer.bitclout.com. Look up the Genesis block, and it will literally say there are 8 million coins when it started.
And this was the same thing as the ICO craze of 2017, where everybody would pre-mine, you know, huge amounts, and then they'd go to market they'd get on these exchanges and put a small float of coins on there, so the price would rocket up, and then they'd start back feeding all their coins into the exchange while the price was ramping up, and they kept back feeding it until they were cashed out.
Yeah, and it literally got to the point where there's tens of thousands of coins. So now exchanges are a lot more smart about what coins they allow on their exchange. Yeah. Because like a coin, you're right. A coin would just start out and it would just rocket to like $100 a coin. And there'd be like
I'm sorry,
50 transactions.
did you say rocket?
I said rocket.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
To the moon, Jessica.
To the moon!
I am full into crypto. I'm a crypto guy. Full disclosure, I have a portfolio that has about $22,000 of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Doge, Litecoin. I mean, I got about 20 coins in there that I invest in. Some of them are completely stagnant that I know nothing about the coin. I'm just like, screw it. It's been on the exchange for a year, so it must be all right. And I just invested in it. But my big three right now are Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Doge for very different reasons. Mm-hmm. It's Bitcoin because it's stability, it's finality. So it's running out. So it can only go up. There's no way Bitcoin, like it'll crash here and there, but it's always going to go back up because by, 2040, there'll never be another Bitcoin ever created again. And it's the most dominated cryptocurrency on the planet. It's literally everywhere. They have ATMs for it. You can buy products with it. It's very integrated.
Philip, you invested in 2020 or 2012, excuse me, right?
Yeah.
Wait,
and
Bitcoin?
I'm an old school Bitcoiner.
Oh, so you're a millionaire.
I used to pay employees in Bitcoin over in the Philippines. And and I used to help them avoid scams because back then there were scams about loaning out your Bitcoin and getting more in return, and I would just help all of them store it away. So a lot of them are like they're living real nice now in the Philippines, like 9 years later.
So Phil, let me ask you this: Were you fortunate enough to keep a lot of Bitcoins around into the 2020s, or did you pull a Barnacles and sell them all at like $300 and then cry a lot?
So I've bought and sold through all the cycles, and like right now I hold.
Hold on, can we have a laughing break?
Like, come on. And let me guess. At some point, you probably had somewhere in the order of probably like 5,000 or 10,000 Bitcoins, didn't you?
Oh no, not that many. Not that
Oh,
many.
really? Okay. So, but still, I mean, okay. So, full disclosure, I lost 50 Bitcoin. I mined Bitcoin with a USB ASIC back in like I want to say 2013, and I was getting like averaging like 1 coin a week or something like that, and just not even pool mining, just mining with this little ASIC plugged into a computer. And I think I had around 50 coins, and the hard drive crashed because it was a hard bet. They didn't have online wallets back then, so the hard drive crashed. I lost the wallet. It was worth a grand total of, I want to say like $7, $5 or $7. And I was like, it was nothing. It was absolutely nothing. Like, you couldn't even find online exchanges. You had to just literally sell it to like another human. And later on, I found out, I was like, oh man, if I had have found that wallet, 50 Bitcoin today, it's 60,000 plus a coin. That would have been like retirement. And so fast forward now to 2017, Bitcoin crashed. And it went from, I want to say it got up to about 390, and I think it started dropping pretty dramatically. So I got cold feet, and I pulled out and I sold 14 coins that I mined, because I used to have a Bitcoin mine in my shed that was running a bunch of like Spawn Dually SP1s and Ant miners and stuff. And so I sold all my coins for $326 a coin during the crash. And then I was like, ooh, man, I'm sly. I think I made like, it was like around, I want to say like 4,000, like 4,000 and some change USD. And I'm like, oh man, I'm so glad that I got out of that. And because I put all that power into mining, I think I spent about $600 on power. I was like, okay, at least I got my investment back and then some. And I was like, oh great. And then it kept dropping. And I was literally like harping on my friends. I'm like, oh dude, it's down to like $160 now. Like, you guys lost all your money. The smartest thing I could have done right then is just buy back in. But I was like, nope, Bitcoin's done. And all my friends are like, dude, you're so stupid if you don't buy in right now. And I'm like, nope, I'm not falling for it. I'm not falling for it. So I just put it on the back burner, and I get a message from my friend Chase that it was up to, I think, $700 and some like in a month. And then I think it was over 7 months, it went up to somewhere in the order like $2,400 or something. And I'm like, no way, no way, no way. And then it hit that huge thing where it went up to like 30,000, and then it crashed again. And I was like, oh, it crashed again. Okay, so if I had held, I would have still lost it. No, and then it just went to the moon again, and went to the moon again. And I was like, oh God, if I had held onto those 14 coins today, it'd be like $1 million.
The way I play it is I do a rule of 10x. So every time I 10x my money, I sell out and then wait then I wait for the next bear cycle. And my prediction of a bear cycle is 1 year after a very obvious peak. So you could just continue, let the whole thing slide downward. It gets real boring. Like right now, it's really exciting, a lot of eyeballs on it. But I wait for it to be super boring, and then I load up again.
Super boring.
That's smart. The problem is I don't have any rules, and so I always make the wrong decisions. So there's one rule that I have now that I even told my wife, because the rule is once you tell your wife, you can't change it, because she'll keep that rule for you. And so the rule is I am not allowed to sell until it becomes FU money.
Oh yeah,
So that's the rule.
I love FU money.
Either I lose
Joe
it all
Rogan.
or it becomes in excess of $1 million. At one of those points, I'm either broke or I sell it all and I finally can afford a Tesla.
Hey!
I want a Tesla. Hey, I don't hate Elon.
I don't think you do.
I'd keep my eye on him if he had a knife and he was in the back of the room and somebody paid him $20 to kill him. I'm just saying, I keep an eye on the dude. But yeah,
Understandable.
I love his cars. I love his rockets. I'd be like the first fat person ever to go up to the space station on one of his rockets. Like, I trust it. Just not Starship. That thing's not quite proven yet. But
it will be soon, though. It will. Have you seen my SN10 stream? You haven't, but
no, I haven't.
I'll send you a link.
Dude, Elon is, I mean, honestly, I'm surprised that guy can walk with the balls on him. Like, seriously, they gotta be like tripping him up. Because that guy literally keeps making, like, bet after bet after bet. And if it goes wrong, he is done.
No, but he's not done. That's the thing. He just keeps going and going and going.
It's that Icarus, man, flying close to the sun. Because look at Tesla. The Tesla Roadster came out. Every single one of them was recalled, completely lost all of his capital, bankrupt, boom, and he creates the most successful car.
He didn't bankrupt. It didn't bankrupt. No.
Oh, I thought he lost all of his investors.
No. He came within, he had, I think, 48 hours to pay people. Oops, we're frozen. He had 48 hours. No, he never bankrupted. I am so echoey. Can I sing an echo rap song? Will you join in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh,
she must have RTX voice enabled because I can't hear any of the beatboxing.
Yeah, we don't hear any of the beats.
Do you have RTX voice enabled? Because it's like filtering out your beatboxing.
What is RTX?
Do you have a filter in OBS that's disabling background noise?
Probably.
Because it's taking out your
Oh!
Yeah, you need that. That's what you need.
All right, I'll work on it. I'll get back to it.
So, hey, full disclosure, I love Elon, but man, that guy literally blew up, 4 Falcon 9 rockets, and it was
Okay.
like literally the one that succeeded was literally the last chance that he had, like scraping the bottom of the bucket.
Pause. You guys keep talking, but I'm gonna pull something up.
I thought you were telling us to pause.
Well,
I thought she was like shutting me down again, like, oh, no,
No,
you
no, no.
didn't.
Oh, no,
Fuck
you
Elon."
didn't.
That Elon, he like a god.
He is
I
a
mean,
god.
Elon screws up too, right? Like the Hyperloop,
Yeah, of
it
course.
scientifically, it doesn't make sense. Like, that's why that thing just kind of faded into obscurity. I mean, it's a marketing thing now. Hyperloop doesn't make any sense. Like,
What if I
they figured
said
that
scientifically you don't make sense?
I don't, but you know, that doesn't mean we're, you know, it
just
doesn't mean they
kidding.
can't build me. I'm obviously here.
Or are you an AI bot?
It's okay. Hold on. Let's see. So for me to exist, all my dad had to do was get drunk and not pull out. But for the Hyperloop to exist, you have to build like 1,000 miles of vacuum chamber.
I love it.
I'm just saying.
I can't
I'm just
wait.
saying. Like if you look at the physics of those two things, one's a lot more possible than the other, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it has to be underground if they do build it. I don't know about the above ground thing.
It is underground. It's all underground. Tunnels. Has to be a tunnel.
Yeah, but they're not going to be able to create the vacuum chamber. The problem is the idea was already like pretty much created in the 20s, but we had no way to vacuum the air out of something that was that big because even the most microscopic leaks would ruin over that
Porousness of metal.
Yeah.
You know,
So in the expansion, right? They figured out the expansion on it using conventional metal. I mean, even using carbon fiber, which has very, very little thermal expansion. When you go over like 300 miles, the amount of like gussets and technology to keep it airtight is pretty crazy. So I think it's cool though. He thinks big, he goes big, he puts his money where his mouth is. But the cool thing is, out of everything he did, the two biggest things he no contest has the biggest selling electric car with the most electric infrastructure in the world. Like every other company now is nipping at his tail trying to catch up to him, and they never will.
Yeah.
They won't. Tesla's already, because they own all the charging infrastructure and nobody else can really use it other than the Tesla. Like, I don't care how much you like the Ford Mach-E or the Porsche Taycan Turbo, or most people are gonna buy a Tesla if they want to drive long range.
Oh yeah.
Because they need that supercharger network. And he saw that, right? Nobody else did that. He did that.
Yep. And you see all the reviews out now where people are using the third-party stuff for their Mustang Mach-E's or whatever, and the experience is like brutal. Super long handshakes, all the setup,
And like having to have a card that you gotta like scan on the thing to get it charging and stuff. Whereas it's like the superchargers, just like they know because your car, they know who owns the car, so they just charge it to the account, right? So.
Okay.
Bubbles back there, yay!
The world is Starlink. I think that's going to be
Massive.
Probably one of the most meaningful. I mean, everything's pretty meaningful, but that one, bringing the ability for high-speed communication to the entire globe, and finishing out the distribution of internet. I mean, that's so big. That's going to change so many lives, especially in the most remote parts of the world. Like Africa is going to be a huge investment opportunity.
Yep.
Not only that, but Elon literally has not only the U.S. government, but other governments literally by the balls.
Snapping.
Think about it. Or here, I'll say by the ovaries too. Let's be super inclusive here. They got them by the ovaries. Because here's the thing. If you own, because nobody really owns space, right? We have a contract with so many other countries that say nobody owns space.
Yep.
Everybody can put satellites in orbit. Like, you don't have to ask permission. Like, I think you're supposed to, like, as far as the U.S. is concerned, but you don't. Like, if you're China and you want to just like flip something up in orbit and bang into other satellites, I mean, you'll get in trouble for it, but you can do it. Like if you have the technology to put a satellite in orbit, you're allowed to.
Right.
So because Elon's put up so many satellites, and he did follow the proper approval process, at least for us. He didn't for other countries. Other countries are really pissed at him. But the thing is, once he owns that global network, and he has the only interconnecting satellite network that can interlink two machines around the world through a satellite with a high-speed connection, do you really think the government isn't going to just like kneel beneath him like he's Zod and just be like, how much do we got to pay you to have access to this network? Because instantaneous wireless transfer from any 2 points on the planet at like gigabit speeds, or I think that's going to be like what? I don't know,
Well, the
100
military
megabits
6
or
months
something
ago was
first.
already testing
That's
Starlink
incredible.
on their aircraft. Yeah.
I didn't know that, but it makes perfect sense, because why would the military invest trillions and trillions of dollars to build something that's proprietary when they could just let Elon spend pennies on the dollar and then just pay
The
that money?
military
to the
loves
system?
subcontractors, and this is a subcontractor they're really gonna lean into. So
Dude, he's going to make so much money. I'll tell you right now, though, I do agree with you. I think out of everything that he's ever done, I think Tesla is the most profitable venture that he's ever created to this point. I believe that SpaceX is the biggest money pit that he's ever created until this point.
Until now, yeah.
Good intentions, right?
Right.
Obviously, they're going to be profitable. I mean, the statement makes sense. They will hit a point where they're massively profitable. But Starlink, that is going to be the most profitable venture of any company on this planet.
What about Neuralink?
It's going to be the Neuralink's cool, but I think Neuralink's going to be the one where he does crash into the sun and catches fire. But I do think Neuralink is
Neuralink may be able to solve our ADHD.
Well, I don't want my ADHD solved. I like
Yeah.
being a little batshit crazy. as long as it's got an on-off switch through my app on my phone, I'm good. Like, I just want ADHD when it's advantageous. Like
On a live stream.
You know?
Yes.
I don't take drugs anymore. No more Adderall. I just want
That's
to go in
what
there
I
and
want
be
too.
like, dopamine.
Right. Same. Oh my gosh.
I just think the
So
internet
much.
around the world, because here's the logical progression, right? You have this low, fast-moving satellite network, and that's what makes it really unique, right? Is everybody else had to be in geosynchronous orbit so that you could point a satellite at it. Now he's figured out how to make a satellite that tracks across the sky. Well, these things are flying like breakneck speed over the horizon. They can be really low, right? Because they're cruising fast. I don't know how fast they move, but I've seen them with the naked eye, so they're cruising. But the thing is, it's very low power.
Right.
It's like, I want to say that the transmitter on it's only like 90 watts or something like that. That's a very, like, laptops use that, which means that you're eventually going to have cars just linking directly to the satellite network. You're going to have people walking around with cell phones that link directly to the satellite network. At some point, terrestrial internet just doesn't make sense anymore. Once you have enough satellites.
And not only that, but really,
Testing.
we have, so we'll have the infrastructure. Now the most important thing can come over the infrastructure, which is education. I mean, you're essentially creating from a desert, you're creating the largest library of Alexander, the type situation at any position on Earth. So you're taking people who are, unable to get education, and then instantly you give them the entire known world's education, condensed into any kind of low-cost device. I mean, places, I keep going back to Africa, but they're going to get to jump technologies in the same way they didn't get landline telephones. They went right to cell phones.
Right.
So they're going to go to Starlink out in these remote areas. They won't even go to cell phones first. They'll go from nothing, not even to the landline, not even to cell phone. They'll go right to a satellite link, and they'll have the best education, that they can curate from this massive source. And those kids out there are going to have, access to that, and which is going to turn their
For the first time ever.
Generationally.
Yeah.
First time ever.
Like, we think we're programming the Google algorithm right now as we speak on YouTube. It's transcribing what we're saying. We're programming it. And they'll be able to access this video for YouTube and just think about the amount of
They'll know not to sign
views.
up for Bitclout.
Yeah. Think about the amount of views on YouTube that will come in once Starlink has been distributed worldwide.
Oh yeah.
It's just gonna.
Censorship becomes impossible too. That's the other thing. It's like it already
That's
kind of
true.
is to some degree.
Yeah.
But it truly becomes like if you're North Korea, you can cut off the trunk line of the data coming into your country and prevent anybody from getting on the internet. But can you stop them from getting on the internet when somebody airdrops a bunch of smartphones and everybody picks them up off the ground and squirrels them inside?
Ooh, yeah, that's a
there's
good
going to be
point.
a lot more data being moved around from people that the government's not going to have control of because it's all line of sight to the sky. Like unless you put a giant Faraday cage over your entire country, you're not going to be able to cut people off from information. And I think that there's some evil that comes with that too, because you're also going to have propaganda, but it will always be able to be countered. Which that's what makes it important. In North Korea, they only know from the moment they're born to the moment they die, they only know what their regime tells them, for the most part, right?
Yeah.
And other countries are very much the same. Like they see Western culture and they're like, what?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're allowed to do that? Like, wow. And then we even see other countries and like, wow, you're allowed to do that? Like, it's like everybody has these different cultures, but the thing with the internet is everybody has equal access to the information. They can look at all the different sides and decide for themselves what makes the most sense. And when you have something like that available to people that are going to pass it on to their kids potentially, and people are going to become more curious and have more access, maybe even Neuralink, right? Maybe you just wake up as a baby and suddenly you're being programmed with the knowledge of the internet. I mean, I think that'd be catastrophic, but let's just say, let's say it goes the right way for once. You would have this collective knowledge. And the neat thing about humanity and just mammals in general is they tend to do whatever gives them the best chance at survival. So that's something like the reason cultures change is because the higher echelon of those societies decided that it was more beneficial to them and the people that they cared about to put other people into servitude. We're the same way here in the United States. It's like, why do we go and work and pay taxes, and why does the government get a bit of everything?
Right.
Well, because there's people in suits that like to have a lot of money and live in castles and go talk about what laws they think should exist and shouldn't exist, right? So everybody is kind of controlled by this hierarchy, and all mammals do that. It's like, who's the leader of the pack? The president of the United States. Who's the crazy people? Who's the loners? The guys that are homeless and on the street and don't want to play within the system, right?
Right.
So everybody has those echelons, but I think if everybody understands that, and everybody grows up understanding not just their little role that they play in society, but understand the big picture.